Welcome to the Danis Files, a Popcast series exploring the life and experiences of Our Lady of the Lake University administrator and educator, Mary Francine Danis, PhD. Sit back and enjoy the Danis Files. And I just think that, unfortunately, though, too, it turns into a societal, cultural thing where there's a, and maybe it's an educationally cultural type situation where I encountered a former coworker who, was a STEMs person, very much a mathematical, scientific type of person, and their thing was, well, I don't understand really what purpose, the writing can do. I mean, and I go, well, wait a minute. He goes, well, think about it. I mean, his whole thesis was the people who work in the STEMs field, whether they're generating cures for diseases, they're generating new engineering techniques, they're gonna move this planet to a whole other solar system or whatever. That's what innovates humanity, not writing a strong paper. And I'm like, well, I politely disagree with you.
Yet they fail to see that if they cannot properly explain in
what their new
how that formula is going to work, it's never going to happen.
Yeah, it doesn't make the impact that they believe it will be. Sure. And that's where several of my other coworkers kind of jumped in and said, well, yeah, I mean, writing is not just what's on the paper. It's a process of thinking. It's a process of synthesizing one's experiences in life with information that they just received or have received over a period of time, and then putting that into context and communicating that to an X number amount of people who are going to have to be a part of that process by taking that in.
It's a vital part of communication that's somewhere along the way lost.
Yeah.
Somebody decided, hey, we're going to take the importance off of it.
Yeah, there's a lot of massive underfunding, I think, unfortunately, throughout different levels of education where, and I completely understand the STEMs aspect where, yes, I think it's fantastic that we have more, young girls wanting to become engineers than ever, I think in our society and history. But I also think that we should also be making sure that their quantitative skills may be high, but what about their qualitative skills? Because that kind of reasoning is I find it invaluable in many different aspects. And as much as I hate a word math problem, I definitely see the applications of being able to rationalize and to communicate that rationalization to more than just one person, to more than my best friend of 30 years who can read me like a book, or to a significant other who can read me like a book. Then we don't always have that comfort level with other people that we encounter, specifically bosses or clients, whomever. We're gonna come across those folks, and they're gonna have to see. They interpret the world differently, probably, and a lot of that interpretation.
And you're not even going to get to have that boss and have that job with that boss unless you can express yourself in writing well enough to have
Why should we hire you?
Why you would be a good candidate for this position?
Because I have a degree. Well, a lot of people have degrees.
Because I have charm.
Right. Yes. Yeah, I have pretty blue eyes. Well, a lot of people have pretty blue eyes, but are they going to lose this company money, or are they going to make this company money?
Until we start developing telepathic abilities.
Yes, exactly.
It's not enough to just verbally communicate it. You have to be able to write.
Yeah, there is that definite need that I have found, and so I do feel that there is a place for, I would say specifically, rhetoric and composition, because that was something that I very much have toyed with on and off for years. If I could afford to go back, that's something that I would definitely pursue, because of the ideas that it entails, modes of communication, dissemination, that kind of thing. And I think that comes back to this idea of fear of writing, because I think for so long there's been a prescriptive element to an expectation driven and performance driven, I guess you could say, with expectations set that this is the model you should find. If you find yourself on either side of the model, then you're not where I believe you should be, kind of a thing. And so I think, it's unfortunate because a lot of people are turned off by the process of writing and learning, because I think writing is also about learning.
Right, yeah. Well, and the fear is I think a multiple level kind of thing. There's the fear of getting started, and that that can apply to any kind of task.
Right.
There's the fear of being corrected, and if you have had bad experiences with teachers who bled all over your papers earlier, you worry about that. There's just the fear of too many choices sometimes. You've got the blank page sitting there and millions of ideas, and how do you deal with all those? I brought along a cartoon that I'm going to give you all that was in the latest issue of the New Yorker. There's a writer sitting at the desk, and the caption is "A visit from the muse of procrastination." And the muse of procrastination is leaning over with wild hair flying and saying, "Shouldn't you be calling your mother? You would be a lot fresher if you went for a run right now. You need to do the dishes this moment." And I thought, whoa, yes. So
that muse is one that is constantly
Sure, because there are all these other things that you can see you've done.
Yeah.
And they're done. Yeah, when those dishes are in the put away in the closet, in the cupboard, after you take them out of the dishwasher, they're done. Yeah. The writing can always be better. Or you can always get started. Yeah. I want to jump to another aspect of how the Writing Center has developed over the years, and that's coming back to the plus side of technology.
Okay.
That's kind of grown out of response to university-wide needs. We started doing telephone conversations with online students, mainly because the nursing program was starting its pathway toward accreditation, and they have students who had completed nursing preparation and were either finishing a bachelor's degree, getting those general education courses, or doing a master's degree. And so a lot of them with all the practical skills of nursing and not a lot of recent experience in writing. And writing, of course, was going to be crucial for their professional development. The university as a whole has to respond to accrediting agencies, several, both regional and also focused on specific professions. One of the mandates of accrediting agencies is that online programs and any other kind of remote or distance programs provide the same quality of education, the same quality of academic support to students as programs that are face-to-face.
Yeah.
And so that support for students who are doing writing was something that we needed to learn how to do.
Okay.
We talked about setting up Skype and never really developed that. There are pros and cons there, and I've been in meetings where we've used Skype or FaceTime, and it's got its strengths and its limitations.
Right.
But being able to either pull up a paper on the screen, or at least have a paper in front of you and talk with a student who is taking an online course. You've all done lots of that.
Yeah.
I've had my share of doing that.
Most definitely.
And for a lot of online students, That is, I think that human voice on the phone
Yes.
provides a form of human bonding and
Yes.
contact that they miss
Right.
with the rest of the, with the online learning.
Mm-hmm.
They couldn't get the degree if they didn't have that opportunity, but we've kind of provided an extra dimension.
Mm-hmm.
It's turned out, as you know, that the nursing folks have been, I think, in the tiny, tiny minority of our telephone conversations, that we've done a lot more with social work.
Right.
Because that
Yes.
program has grown so much more.
Right.
And I don't know whether audio conferencing or whether the video element of conferencing is going to become part of,
Part of the new.
yeah.
I don't know, honestly. I don't right now. We're very, like you said, we have a lot of not expectations, but a lot of students who are comfortable, like you said, with just a voice.
Mhm.
Because
I think
there's
it was something that Scott, another consultant, brought up one time in a conversation. It was the fact that video kind of crosses you over a line of a little bit of intrusion into
Yes.
their space.
Mhm.
Yes.
They're working from home, whether they have, their
Something's
kids
in the
there,
background.
they're doing
Exactly.
other things,
Sure.
and so
The
it
dog is barking.
the dog is
Yeah.
barking, right, and so you've kind of, it's a different area, but
the visual
You-
really makes
Sure,
it more
sure,
visceral.
yeah.
simply having the ability
Exact-
to
yeah.
have the dialogue
Mhm.
really is more effective
Yeah.
than, say, what we've learned now from kind of basic online tutoring through chat rooms.
Mm-hmm.
It's not
Mhm.
always as effective
Mhm.
as it would be saying, hello, so-and-so,
Yeah.
this is what
Yeah.
we're recognizing. If you read it out loud, you can hear it.
Exactly,
Yep.
yeah. And then there's also the element of different technologies. I mean, you've got a few students in online programs who may be able to do their work only if they're working, they've
Right.
got to go to a library or someplace else because
Right.
they don't have a computer at home. Or even if they've got the technology at home, well, you may not have the right technology
Yeah,
for,
exactly.
so you've got to have the same software on both ends. And so,
Right.
yeah, that adds another layer of complication.